Welcome to On-Demand Module 4, Teaching Success with Reach for Reading, Grades 3 through 5. This session will provide you with an overview of the resources and instructional path for each unit. You may want to have a teacher's edition close by so you can follow along. First, let's take a quick review of Reach for Reading as a whole. Reach for Reading is a core reading program for kindergarten through 5th grade. There are three major attributes that really make this program unique. First, you're going to be teaching students to read through compelling content that includes multicultural texts, authentic literature, and exclusive content from National Geographic. Not only are your students going to be excited and engaged, but you will be as well. Reach for Reading has also been developed to help you meet the needs of every learner in your classroom. From those who are above level to those who are below, the content has been developed to support all students in your room. And the program has been designed to be both structured and flexible in order to accommodate all teaching scenarios. The program authors are leading experts in the field. As they developed the program, they had the Common Core State Standards in front of them, so you can rest assured that you will cover 100% of the Common Core State Standards when using Reach for Reading. You can learn more from the program authors about how the program was developed and what best practices were embedded in our Best Practices and Routines Based on Research section. This section can be found in your Unit 1 Teacher's Edition and on the Professional Development website link on myngconnect.com. Speaking of the Teacher's Editions, you may have noticed that you have quite a few. Reach for Reading has developed a teacher's edition for every unit of instruction. In grades 3 through 5, that means you have 8 teacher's editions. In each teacher's edition, you'll find Common Core correlations in the back. You'll also find tabs separating the leveled reading instruction, the practice masters, and the assessment masters. Instead of having a bunch of different ancillary books, you have all of the resources for your unit right there in one book. Everything in each TE is specific to that unit, and all of these resources are also available on myngconnect. Each unit follows the same instructional path. You'll always begin with a unit launch before moving on to the instruction, which is broken down into 4 weeks. And each unit ends with a unit wrap-up. Each week of instruction incorporates multiple reading selections and writing projects. You'll notice that within each unit, there is always a National Geographic exclusive selection. These are selections that are written with and by our National Geographic explorers, scientists, and photographers, bringing the world into the classroom. Reach for Reading emphasizes major topics in science and social studies through thematic units that incorporate academic and content vocabulary and subject-based tasks, and also includes specific suggestions for relating the themes to students' own experiences, cultures, and personal lives. And within each unit, each lesson builds on prior lessons to reinforce and extend the information students are learning and the skills they are acquiring. If you're following along in your Teacher's Edition, you can find this in the front of the book. And if you're in Unit 1, it's right behind the Unit 1 Teacher tab. The instruction for Reach for Reading is set up in a workshop-based model, beginning with whole group instruction, before moving into small group reading time and learning station time. Turning to the next page, you'll find the program resources for the unit. These are specific resources for this particular unit, and again, they are broken down into whole group, small group reading, which includes a balance of informational text and authentic literature, and over 100 level books per grade level. Your learning station options, and your planning, assessment, and reteaching tools. On the next page, you'll find the Skills at a Glance page. This page identifies the selections that will be used for each week of instruction down the left column. Notice that the second selection for weeks 2 and 4 are interactive whiteboard readings. Then the skills for the unit are broken down into Common Core strands: speaking and listening, language vocabulary, reading, and writing. The next page is your weekly planner page. Again, each day is divided up into the workshop layout of whole group, small group, and learning stations. The Common Core standards are listed for each lesson in blue, and all tested skills are identified with the red checkbox. You'll also find suggested times listed for each lesson, but don't worry because the online lesson planner available on MyNG Connect can be used to fit the program to your specific needs. On the following page, you'll find some learning station options that are specific to the unit. You'll notice that these include multiple options again for each Common Core strand of listening and speaking, language and vocabulary, reading, and writing, as well as other options. In grade 3, your next page will be Daily Phonics Intervention. These lessons are provided as options for students who need a little additional support in the phonics instruction. The next section is the spelling and word work lessons that follow an instructional plan including introducing the words on day 1, providing multiple options for practicing the words on days 2, 3, and 4, and the spelling test on day 5. You'll notice that the practice options are often engaging activities that have students actively using the words they are studying. Daily grammar instruction is also provided as one of the daily language arts lessons on the next 2-page spread. The grammar skills build upon each other as students progress through the units. Daily writing skills are also provided. These will focus on a specific writing skill that will be useful for the students when completing the writing project for the week. As you can see, this example is using sensory language, and the project for the week is writing a poem. You'll see reminders like this for the phonics, spelling, and word work, grammar, and daily writing lessons in the margins throughout the instruction. Now we'll take a quick walkthrough of the first 5 days of a unit. Each day begins with a warm-up to get the students active and engaged in the upcoming content of the lesson. Following the warm-up on day 1, you'll begin by introducing the unit. With this lesson, you will build students' content knowledge by introducing the big question, having students share what they already know about the content, and sharing the build background video that is found on myngconnect.com. Each unit has a video to help introduce students to the content and build their background for this purpose. Students will then begin the unit project. And you'll also notice in the right margin a weekly writing list identifying pieces that can be added to a student's writing portfolio. The first lesson in day 1 is to listen and comprehend. You'll begin this part of the lesson by engaging students in academic talk using a page from the student anthology. This lesson will also incorporate a cooperative learning structure. Next, it's time to introduce the content vocabulary. You'll notice that every time content vocabulary is introduced, it's introduced within the context of the unit theme. You'll also be using a consistent routine to introduce the key vocabulary. This routine consists of pronouncing and having the students pronounce the word, rate the word, do they know it or not, defining the word, elaborating on the definition, and posting the word on the word wall. This is one of the many routines that's built right into the program, and although the directions are right there in the Teacher's Edition at point of use, you'll also find detailed information about the routines in the Best Practices section of the Unit 1 Teacher's Edition. As you look through the Teacher's Edition and follow along with the instruction, you'll find many opportunities for differentiation that are built right in. You'll see differentiation opportunities for English learners, students with special needs, students who are above level, and more. You'll also find opportunities to check and reteach built right in so you can continue to monitor student progress. The next step is to introduce a comprehension skill using the student anthology to teach the concept. An e-visual read-aloud lesson has been provided allowing students to practice this skill. You will be reading the passage aloud twice, a Common Core requirement of multiple readings of the same text, and focusing students' attention on a specific task during the second read. Then it's time to map and talk by creating a thinking map and having students talk together using the Practice Master. A daily writing activity is also built in using one of the writing routines. This writing is on top of the writing projects that are included in each week of instruction. And finally, as with the warm-up, each day ends with a wrap-up, giving students an opportunity to share what they've learned with each other. And here's the reminder for the daily language arts lessons. Moving into day 2, students are going to begin again with academic talk before moving on to introducing the academic vocabulary words. One thing we didn't discuss on day 1, but you will see throughout the program, is power writing in the teacher rep. This is a quick writing routine, 1 minute, that helps students build their writing stamina in preparation for standardized writing tests. You can read more about this routine in the Best Practices section of the Unit 1 Teachers Edition on page BP 47. Now, in the introduction of academic vocabulary, we follow the same routine that was followed when introducing the content vocabulary on day 1. For academic vocabulary, you'll notice that each word is represented with a photograph to help students easily understand the meaning of the word. A student-friendly definition is also provided. Then it's time to introduce the students to the reading strategy. Each unit covers one reading strategy, and students have multiple opportunities to apply this strategy to different genres of text. Students then use a demo text to discuss and practice applying the specific strategy. And writing and wrap-up end the day. On day 3, it's time to begin reading the selection for the week. But before getting started, students will practice both content and academic vocabulary words and spend some more time with academic talk through cooperative learning routine. Next, it's time to introduce the selection by discussing the genre, possible elements of the genre, and connecting to the content. After you introduce these elements, it's time for students to read the passages of the selection. As they read, use the differentiation strategies provided for students below, on, and above level. As each group reads, use the build comprehension questions and provide additional differentiation as needed. Additional mini-lessons are also provided to expand instruction when applicable. Again, you'll find opportunities to check and reteach built right in so you can continuously monitor student progress. And the writing and wrap-up lessons end the day, along with the daily language arts reminder. On day 4, students will continue reading. In weeks 1 and 3, they will continue reading the selection they started on day 3. But in weeks 2 and 4, the reading will be an interactive whiteboard selection. Turning to the next page, on day 5, you'll find an opportunity to review and apply the skills that students have been taught in days 1 through 4. Students will have a chance to review vocabulary, academic talk, and write about the selection. They will also reread a selection of text and integrate their knowledge of the comprehension skill. Differentiation strategies are provided to help students work with partners when reviewing this comprehension skill. And students have the opportunity to practice their fluency. Now we've arrived at the instruction for the weekly writing project. One project in each unit will be a research project, And the last project will be a comprehensive writing project that relates directly to the selections the students have read. All projects include each step of the writing process. Turning past the writing project, you'll find the overview of the assessments and the reteaching options specifically for Week 1's instruction. Now flip to the Practice Masters tab. All the Practice Masters for the unit are included in the Teacher's Edition, and the back of the tab lists which ones apply to each lesson and what page they're found on. These are also available on MyNG Connect. Now let's turn to the Small Group Reading tab and take a look at the small group reading for the unit. This page provides a list of the books provided for this unit broken down by each week of instruction. You'll see that you have books for students at 4 different reading levels. 1 book at 2 years below level, 1 book at 1 year below level, an on-level book, and an above-level book. You'll also have a National Geographic Explorer book for each week of instruction. The next 2 pages provide specific details for the reading routines you'll be using during leveled reading time. You'll find the library includes a mix of literary and informational texts. The pages that follow provide teaching resources for all of the leveled readers, beginning with the Explorer books. The Explorer books are 2 books at 2 different reading levels that have the same content and the same visuals, but providing students the opportunity to engage with these National Geographic texts at their own independent reading level. For each reader, you have an overview of the book, including title, author, page count, genre, content connection, and level. You have additional program resources and suggested pacing, a summary of the selection, prompting questions for activating prior knowledge, some background building questions, story vocabulary, and on the following page, your build comprehension questions that connect directly to the comprehension students have learned in the anthology, and additional writing options. Once the students have read all the leveled readers, we've also provided a list of additional recommended books, both fiction and informational text, that connect directly to the content of the unit. This is a great list to share with the media specialist or librarian for additional class library books. You could even pass them from class to class so everyone gets a chance to use them throughout the unit instruction. Turning to the Assessment and Reteaching tab, you'll find all of the assessment and reteaching resources for the unit. This section provides you with all of the tools you'll need to monitor student progress. To learn more about what's available on MyNG Connect, please be sure to view Module 1A for an overview. Thank you for attending this session. Please be sure to download the Certificate of Completion under the attachments link.